Hello everyone, my name is Curtis, and today I'm going to recap the state's opening statements in the Florida vs. Dima Towers case. And before I get started, I do want to send my condolences to Jennifer and Robbie's families. And I also want to provide just a little bit of background. So the reason why we are here is because Dima Towers, he stabbed his adopted mother and father, which would be Jennifer and Robbie, multiple times back in 2023. Before the state is able to give their opening statements, the judge over the case, which is Judge Thomas Scruggs, does have a conversation with the jury members. He explains to the jury members that when it comes to opening statements, it's pretty much an opportunity for attorneys to discuss evidence that they believe will be presented throughout the trial. So it's not necessarily about actual evidence, it's just about what they believe will be presented. And essentially, it's a roadmap to kind of help guide the jury members. The judge then leans forward, he asks the state, and he asks the defense, are you all ready to go? They both say yes. So he says, based on procedure, the state goes first, so the state will give their opening statement first. And the person that's giving the opening statement for the state is Leona Whipple. And before I go into detail about everything that Leona said, I just want to let you all know that it was very detailed. There was a lot that was going on. So therefore, I am going to look directly at my notes a lot of times. So if you all see me looking down here, I'm looking at my notes. And of course, if I'm looking right here, I'm looking directly into the camera. Leona starts by using the word rage. She says that the reason why he stabbed his parents, the reason why he led police on a high-speed chase, the reason why he was running through the woods, the reason why he swam through canals, and the reason why he was on the run for 8 hours was because of rage. She goes on to say that the following day when he was questioned by detectives, they asked him, what happened? Why did you do it? Why was this so gruesome? Just give us an explanation. The only thing that he could say was that it was because of rage, and apparently the rage has been boiling inside of him for a very long time, and unfortunately that day, it actually boiled over. She then goes on to list the charges that he is facing, and of course this is stemming from the incident that happened on August 31st, 2023. So he's facing 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder of Robbie and Jennifer Tower, and he's facing 1 count of fleeing law enforcement. She tells the jury that she is going to prove that he is guilty by using the following: witness testimony, physical exhibits, videos, photographs, forensic testing, and also Dima's own words. She then lets them know that they will hear witness testimony from the neighbors. So when it comes to the neighbor, she claims that she heard loud banging on the door late at night, and then she heard a woman screaming for help. She went outside to see what was going on. The woman was gone, but there was a pool of blood outside, and so she decided to call the police. She also let them know that there will be additional testimony, and it's going to be from a civilian who notified authorities that she saw him in the area as far as with Dima. There was a store clerk who was at the gas station that he was captured at. Officer Tyler Rodriguez was the first officer on the scene who saw Dima get into his car and speed off. Then we had Detective Breyer, who went to the location that he was originally sighted at. It was also one of the people that arrested him. And then we had the lead detective that was assigned to the case, and the person who was in the room when Dima explained why he did what he did. In regards to a motive, what Leona was saying was that Dima was not really happy with how his life was going in the United States. So Dima is actually from the Ukraine. He was adopted by Robbie and Jennifer, and they brought him over to the United States. And so he is just not satisfied with how his life is going, and he blames them because they were the ones who brought him over to the United States. And so this caused him to be mad at them, be mad at the world, to the point that he actually had plans to kill them before. Leona then lays out the timeline of events, so I am going to look directly at my notes because there were a lot of things that happened, okay? So he went to work, he worked a full shift, then he went home, and then once he was home, he decided to get back into his car, he had a drink, then he started thinking about how much he hated his life and how he wanted to take out his parents. He then went back into the house, went to his bedroom, continued to think about it, and then he decided, you know what, I'm going to do it. He then walked into the kitchen, grabbed a steak knife, then walked to his parents' bedroom, and it's important to note that his parents, they were sleeping. He then walked over to his father's side of the bedroom, and then he started stabbing them over and over again. And he told detectives that he stabbed him so many times that they actually lost count. While he was stabbing him, the knife actually slipped out of his hand, so he went into the kitchen, grabbed another knife, and then came back and started stabbing them again. Now, when it comes to his father, he was able to get out of the room, and he was able to crawl into the living room. Dima unfortunately followed after him and continued to stab him. And then at that point, Robbie, he collapsed and he died. When it comes to Jennifer, she did try to protect him, but of course she's not as strong as a man, so there wasn't really much that she can do in that case. So she ended up fleeing the house and she ended up going over to the neighbors. So she was banging on the neighbor's door, trying to get the neighbor's attention. But unfortunately, Dima actually followed her and then forced her to come back into the house. So that's why the neighbor says that she didn't see anybody, but she did see a bunch of blood. And in this moment, I was just thinking, like, wow, if the neighbor would have came downstairs and opened the door as Jennifer was actually at the door, I felt like Dima probably would have stabbed her as well. So it's just crazy to think about everything that happened. Once Dima and Jennifer got back into the house, Dima, he stood over her, he was yelling at her, berating her, and so she was sitting down on the couch and she was pleading for her life, like, please don't do this. And then he actually started to stab her, and so she did actually end up falling off of the couch and she started to crawl over to her husband, who was already dead, unfortunately, and then she actually passed away. And it's at this point that Dima probably realized that the neighbor called the police, so he actually cleaned up the knives, put them back into the knife block, he grabbed some belongings, and then he went to his car, and that is when he saw Officer Rigodes. Leona then brings up a few more people who would testify, so we're going to start out with Elizabeth Walker, who is a crime scene tech, who took photos and videos of the bloody bedroom, living room, and driveway. And when it comes to the bedroom, they are saying that there was blood on the ceilings, all over the wall, all over the bed, so it was pretty gruesome. We have Courtney Stender, who is also a crime scene tech, who processed and documented the vehicle. We have Charlene Webster, who is in law enforcement, who will talk about her procedures for testing blood in the knives. And then we have Dr. Russell Vega, who will examine the victims and perform autopsies. She ends the opening statement by telling them that they will see the extent and the quantity of the stab wounds to Robbie and Jennifer Tower. And so, if you all have a weak stomach, you may want to turn this off. But when it comes to Robbie, he has 68 penetrating wounds to his scalp, neck, shoulder, chest, arms, legs, and back. Jennifer has 79 penetrating wounds to her scalp, head, back, shoulder, chest, and arms. And she also had 38 stab wounds to her neck, so it was pretty bad. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. I do have plans to do a video for the defense's opening statement. I will try to get that up either later today or sometime tomorrow. But if you all could, please like, comment, share, subscribe. That would be great. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week. Take care.